Run the coil tubing through the coil tubing injector head and risers. Examine the first 5 to 10 feet of coil tubing for distortion or damage. If any damage is discovered, cut off the damaged tubing and ensure that there is 5 to 10 feet of straight coil tubing above the plug. Prepare the end of the coil tubing for makeup to the coil tubing plug, filing cut edges, and using sandpaper on the OD to ensure smooth entry of the coil seals. Remove the shear screws from the locking body. Press in the fingers. Release the coil tubing grip assembly from the tool. Back off the grub screws slightly to ensure the free passage of the coil tubing through the grip assembly. Liberally apply mineral-based oil to the internal seal stacks within the coil tubing plug. Liberally apply mineral-based oil to the outer diameter of the coil tubing. Pass the coil tubing through the tool, meeting the coil tubing grip assembly. Pass the tubing through the grip assembly. Use spanners to tighten the bottom sub of the grip assembly onto the top sub until it grips the coil tubing adequately. Tighten the grub screws onto the coil tubing to 10 feet-pounds. Slide the coil tubing plug down onto the grip assembly, depressing the 3 release fingers on the coil tubing plug so that the grip assembly latches inside the plug. Release the 3 fingers and ensure that they are latched into the mating groove of the grip assembly. Once done, perform a pull test to a maximum of 20,000 pounds to confirm the integrity of the grip assembly. Place a pull test plate between the top of the coil tubing plug and bottom of the riser. Raise the coil tubing plug assembly so that the top of the plug comes into contact with the test plate and apply the 20,000 pounds test load. After completion of the pull test, lower the plug to working height and apply grease to the coil tubing above the plug. Press in the 3 release fingers and slide the coil tubing plug up the tubing to ensure that the plug passes freely. Slide the plug back down the tubing and latch back onto the grip assembly. Ensure that the release fingers are latched into the groove on the grip assembly. Ensure that the grip assembly is shouldered internally against the body of the coil tubing plug. Install a single shear screw into the plug to lock the main plug body to the grip assembly. Note, the number of shear screws utilized will depend on the specific well scenario. Apply mineral-based oil to the elastomeric seal stack on the coil tubing plug before applying a liberal coating of grease to the rest of the plug body. Make up the bottom hole assembly. Lift the entire coil tubing system into position so that the coil tubing plug and BHA can be run into the riser. Carefully lower the system, ensuring that the coil tubing plug is centralized when in proximity to the internal diameter of the riser. This will reduce the possibility of causing any accidental damage to the coil tubing plug and V-seals. With the riser fitted to the BOP and all tests complete, the coil tubing plug can now be run in whole. For more information about the UMS Flowell coil tubing plug, please visit our website or email sales@umsflowell.com.